right, guys, so this is pretty much what we're working with right here. This is an engine out of a 2014 Panigale 1199S. So this is actually out of one of their sport bikes,
which is actually pretty crazy.
All right, so without further ado, up here at the shop, I do not know how this thing is fitting in here, but somehow Kevin made it happen. Man, this put like a battery in my back seeing this. But obviously, as you guys can see, 10-inch stretch evil swing arm. This is all factory from the rear. And then, like I said, Kevin is he made a custom exoskeleton to actually tie the motor into the chassis. The one thing I am waiting for is these bolts right here, because in my first video, I think I had told you guys that I was actually planning on trying to put this together like how a OEM Ducati is. So basically, in an OEM Panigale, these bolts right here are what actually fasten the swing arm to the bike, because the actual engine is a structural member on a Panigale. But there was like a lot of unknowns with that, and I felt like a safer approach would be to just use these as a mounting boss instead, to tie the actual frame to it. So I guess a better way of saying it is that the chassis is completely separate from the actual engine. Like, it doesn't depend on the engine as a structural member to keep everything together. So we just felt like that would be safer. So obviously, this stuff isn't final welded yet. This is on the chassis table right now. But yeah, as you can see, it's in there. This thing is going to look absolutely crazy. And it's just a perfect mix of customization while retaining some of the stock Grom attributes. So obviously, still got all the stock plastics back here, stock tail, or stockish aftermarket tail light. This is a shaver kit that I put on before I took the bike apart. Stock rear sets. I am in the midst of placing an order for the Chimera engineering wheels, because I see that they just released a kit for the 22 and up Groms. So it'll actually help, because I don't plan on doing a big axle on this right out the gate. I'm gonna actually take my time, try to source the bearings to convert over to like a 20 or 22 millimeter axle. But yeah, I was looking at the kit that Steady Garage has, and basically when I get those wheels, I'll probably start a list of the different conversion components that I need to convert this over to a big axle. And I might even do the swing arm pivot as well. I'm not too sure about that yet, but the main thing is the rear drive axle. The good thing is that DME Racing, I know a lot of my bike guys that watch my channel, they'll know who I'm talking about, but DME, they can make a complete custom axle for you, any length, any diameter. So that'll be perfect in my case, because it'll just be a lot easier to get the big axle to adapt, because I'm not using like a predetermined length from a existing bike. It'll just be a completely custom one-off piece. Obviously the forks, these will need to be beefed up. I might actually even switch to a set of Olin forks. Luckily, I've dealt with a company called Fueltech. Once again, a lot of my bike followers will know who that is, especially if you're into bike racing. So I'm probably hit them up and see what type of different options they have, because these stock forks, I could literally get these to compress with my stock body weight on a stock Grom, or my body weight on a stock Grom, sorry. And obviously this will get beefed up. This will probably also get switched out for Olin. This will be stuff that I do all after the fact, because it could be upgraded down the line. It's not really detrimental right now. And then as you can see, this stuff is all tacked up right here. This is kind of what was required to actually get the engine to fit in here. So the 10-inch Evil swing arm in the rear, and then the chassis also got cut in half, and it needed to be stretched like about 3 inches or so, because my earlier videos you guys saw I tried to slide this engine under the stock frame, and it was no way to get that to work with the stock frame length, because this valve cover would smack the back of this right here. So the main thing I'm more so impressed about is the actual ground clearance, because I thought for 100% that I was going to have to do a custom oil pan, but it looks like the stock oil pan might actually work. So that'll be my next thing. I'm gonna unbolt, because right now I got this plate bolted under there. I did that just more so the engine can sit on the ground flat. So I'm gonna take this off probably maybe this weekend or Monday, and then I'm gonna get the stock pan bolted back up. And I'm waiting on these bolts to come in from Bellmetric. That was like the only place that I could find a beefy as 12.9 grade bolt. Kind of went overkill on it, but like I said, 2 wheels, you don't really get a lot of second chances. So I'm gonna overbuild everything, especially even when it comes to fasteners or anything. I just want to make sure this stuff is safe, because I probably won't be the only person riding this. But you can see, like, even from the front of the bike, it doesn't look too crazy. Everything fits in there pretty good. Even this horizontal head spark plug, I can easily change that out. I haven't got the stock horn on there. The stock fairings will be going back on. The stock tank will be going back on. The stock tank does need to get cut or clamshelled to account for the vertical clearance of the engine. But my plan for the fueling system is basically to have a series of 2 tanks. I'll have a remaining portion of the stock tank, and that'll probably have like a 6AN or a 8AN fitting welded onto it. And then there'll be a transfer tube that comes down. And obviously I got this nice little box area right here that won't be used for anything. So my plan right now is I think when I measured it out, I could fit like an 8x8 fuel cell in here. And then I used the calculator. I used the calculator to basically calculate volume based off my length, width, and height measurements of what I could fit in this box. And I think it was around like 2.1 gallons. So altogether, I might be able to get around 2.5 gallons of fuel capacity, maybe a little bit more. I'm not really too concerned with that, because like I said, the engine is staying on pump gas. I've always been an E85 guy, so I've always been used to being in situations to where I have range anxiety of running into a E85 station on whatever route that I'm taking. So with this being on pump gas, even if I got to fill up more frequently, it's really not that big of a deal to me. But man, I'm literally still in awe of how good this thing fits in here. I mean, as you can see, a lot of these stock attachment points are still there. The stock shock mount is still there. This stock back piece is still there. Stock rear sets. So really happy with how it came out. Another area where I might have to get a little bit creative is the cooling system. So I'm brainstorming a few ideas right now. I know a lot of people in the Panigale community, they complain about how hot these bikes run, even the stock bikes. So, you know, I'm prepared to do a lot of homework with that. I know I was looking at a few different stock platforms, and one radiator that stuck out to me in particular was the Husqvarna Vitpillen radiator. It's kind of more so of like a cafe style racer bike, but it has a nice wide radiator up front. So I'm thinking maybe I could use something like that for the front, because I don't think it will stick out too far past the forks and it wouldn't look tacky on a Grom platform. So that's just an idea right now. But as with anything, I am open to ideas. So please feel free to drop ideas in the comments of what you guys might think would work for a cooling system. And then obviously, because I got the YZ450, I had thought about maybe using a pair of those radiators. Me personally, I don't think that would be enough cooling volume or coolant volume utilizing those two radiators, but I don't know. I don't know till I try, so I don't know. That's just something I'll tackle when I get there. But as you guys can see, this thing is coming together. So, you know, I've dealt with a lot of naysayers about this build being on hiatus forever. Well, there you have it. Engine is in the bike now. Engine is in the bike. Man, I'm almost as excited about this than I am my freaking 5,000 horsepower Hemi truck. So, but yeah, that's it's coming together. Figure I will put this video out kind of raw and uncut, because a lot of people have been asking about this the Grom build. But you know, I wanted to kind of get this knocked out before the truck, because the truck is a lot more long-winded. This is not far from completion. I mean, I know fit and finish, obviously, but as far as having a running vehicle, it's not far. But this this is about to change the game. And like I said, I'm not the first person to do this. There was a Taiwanese guy to attempt this build on a Gen 2 Grom, or I guess what's regarded as an OG Grom. But it burned down, so it's kind of a blue ball situation. No one got to see it perform, do any street hits or anything. So this will be, I'm kind of reviving that build from the dead. So, you know, the idea was spawned from what I saw online on his build. So I definitely want to pay credit forward for, you know, giving me the idea to attempt something like this. And then I'll probably drop a few old clips of when I actually got the engine running on Fueltech as well, if you guys are just now getting up to date with the build. This engine I did have set up with a makeshift, like almost like a dyno setup in my shed with a freaking car Griffin radiator, and I used my YZ450F fuel system to pump fuel to it, and I kind of pulled a bass tune out of my ass, something that I made on the Fueltech fuel mapping. And luckily there was a guy on the Ducati Facebook group that was nice enough to give me a Woolwich ignition timing map. So fueling, I kind of just shot in the dark with it, but I mean, obviously, as you can see at these later clips that I'm about to throw in here, it start up and revved beautifully. So but yeah, I will be posting a lot more updates on this. Obviously, as you can see, this is a major milestone in this build. And yeah, it's this is going to be crazy. This might be faster than the YZ. But yeah, just please subscribe, please like, please comment, please share. Definitely appreciate it. It helps me out a bunch as well. And yeah, we're almost there. So till next time, yeah, just stay tuned.